Good evening, everybody.
Hello. Here we are, Captain Sergio, Captain Mike. Another day, another good time on the air. We got a lot to talk about. If you got any questions, please, now is the time to tell us and talk to us because we want to know. But I know I got a few things I want to bring up, a little experience I had today, and I just thought I'd bring it up a little bit and get people's input on it. But Mike, another windy day, man.
Yeah, it just it's this time of year. It's real fun.
No, I don't think it was real fun. I was in 15 to 20 knot winds and Cockroach Bay today in the Beaver Tail. And I'll tell you, we worked hard to get a show, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
It's that time of year, and this is what happens.
yeah.
Get these fronts that keep coming through.
But Mike, it's been this kind of year for the last 3 years. What happened 3 months ago, 4 months ago? That's all we've had. I mean,
Hmm.
you get one day of decent weather and boom, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 days in a row, high
Yeah,
winds,
yeah.
you know?
Well, it's coming in like a bum rush because it hasn't been. I mean, normally we've got a little bit of earlier in October, some sort of fronts come through, try to cool us down a little bit, but yeah, now it's coming in hard now, one right after the other. From what I'm looking at the because I look at Ventusky, it's a it's kind of what the weathermen look at as well, and it basically shows the highs and the lows and the winds and where they're moving, and you can kind of predict a little bit ahead of time what's going to happen. So I kind of look at that every week and kind of see what's going to happen and try to plan that week, what type of fishing
Right.
I'm going to do because it'll it'll catch you real quick. Yeah, today I was not expecting it. I was out there today as well and was not expecting it to be that heavy, but it was a little rocky.
Well, I can tell you down in Cockroach Bay, yeah, I got to admit, we were in there. That's why we launched at Cockroach Bay boat ramp, not to have to go across from Simmons because it was rough.
Hmm.
I mean, we had some 2.5, 3 footers out there.
Yeah.
And one thing I can say is two things. We had Captain Brady, and he fishes a lot in there. And I had my Florida Marine tracks and my GPS. And we went to some places that, Mike, I'll be honest with you, it looked so nice. I mean, it almost looked like you were down in the Everglades.
Uh
I
huh.
didn't realize about that part of Cockroach because I haven't been there in a lot of years, and I always fished like towards the front. But we went way in the back because you could do it with
Yeah.
the skiff. Now,
Right.
if you have your regular 23, 24, 25 foot boat, some of the places we went through to get to where we went to, you might not have gone because we started off with a low tide this morning.
Right.
Like you said, you had and then it was coming in. And then, of course, with the northeast wind, it never got full high tide. We had
No.
about a
No.
half a tide.
Right.
So, I mean, but we went into areas that was just so beautiful, so nice. And we were fishing strictly saltwater assassin the whole day. And I think it's going
Uh,
to be it's good. We caught some fish, but again, if you want to see this show, it's going to come out in February. If you want to see the biggest whisker trout I ever caught, we ever caught, actually, I didn't catch it. Brady caught it. I mean, this was a huge whisker trout, and
really.
it was part of the show because, oh, and then we had a duck, one of those cormorants.
Yeah.
He got so aggressive that as we were bringing the trout into the boat, he was jumping into the boat, grabbing the trout and trying to rip it and take off with
Oh
it.
wow. Yeah.
That's how aggressive this one guy was.
Jeez.
And finally, one of the smaller trouts that we threw in that they weren't that big today, he got one and he was standing on my power pole. And this trout was probably maybe 12 inches long.
Uh huh.
And he couldn't swallow it all. He had part of his tail sticking out of his mouth for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I guess he was trying to figure out, well, I can't back it out now. I got to swallow it somehow. I thought he was going to choke on it.
Hmm.
I mean, I couldn't believe a trout that big and that little duck, and he had it head first.
Yeah. They do that. We have that problem in especially coming up now in the wintertime. We fish the river a lot, and there's quite a number of cormorants who get just very, very close, jump on your boat, try to take the fish while you're flipping it in the boat. I mean, they do it quite a bit. We've got a few pelicans that do the same. So yeah, and it's just they've gotten used to being fed. Fort DeSoto, you take a kayak out there, you're gonna have a cormorant following you right behind you as you go through the shallows because you're kind of pushing up, making that wake, and kind of pushing up bait, and they learn. They learn the behavior that hey, there's some fish here.
Yeah, well,
So
yeah,
they need to know.
but I mean, this guy really got aggressive. I mean, I've never
Yeah,
seen him. I never seen him to the point where he was, he was going to jump into the boat to grab the fish. I mean, he wasn't going to let go. I
no,
mean, we had to hit him with a rod to get him to spit the fi- the trout because he wasn't going to give it up. He was saying, "Nah,
no.
I want that sucker." And like I said,
Uh-huh.
finally he got one of the little ones that we threw in, and he stood on that power pole for 15 minutes. And Hota and I kept saying, he's going to choke on it because I mean, you could see that trout. His throat got 3 times bigger. You could see
Yeah,
that trout, and he couldn't get it. I don't know how, when he finally got it. How could he fit in his stomach? The trout was bigger than
yeah,
his stomach. I don't know how they did
yeah.
it.
They can fit. They can eat quite a large size fish. There are times when we're cleaning our trout at our cleaning station. We get birds come in all the time, and we're throwing some 15, 16-inch trout, and they're getting them down.
Jesus.
So they can get them down. They're crazy. Yeah, Donald, I agree.
Yeah.
He made a little comment. It needs to be an open season. I said, yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
so
There's too
yeah,
many of them.
that's right,
I uh,
Donald.
I, I pushed off a flock of them today. That I mean, at least 50 to 60 of them came off the mangroves. I wasn't fishing the mangroves. I was just kind of idling through because there's a bunch of people trout fishing, and I didn't want to run through it, so I just idling through close to the mangrove, and it was like the mangroves just came alive. Just a ton of them come flying out. It's crazy. There's just too many of them. I need
Now,
some. They
what's
take
the
care of
water?
alligators and deer and hog and everything else that way. They need to start doing with cormorants.
What's the water temperature up at? Because it was 70 degrees in Cockroach Bay today. 70.
Yeah, we got 65 is what I've got today.
Okay. Yeah. It was
And the
70
last
where
week
we
it
were at.
was 74. So it dropped it down about 10 degrees, this little front.
Yeah. And there's another one coming.
Hmm.
Oh, now's the time of the
Yeah.
year. You can start expecting some cold weather now.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. But it's like I said, I don't mind it because to me, it actually concentrates the fish in just certain areas. I mean, I can go from one place to another and just find those fish because there's only so many places here in Crystal River that are warm during the cold snaps. So you just find those locales, and you're pretty much going to find some fish.
yeah, well, those springs are going to keep that water temperature 72.
Well, yeah, up in the river area and along the river, but I'm still hitting out there in the mangroves, and but I've got a few places that just that sun beats in there. It's just one of those perfect locales where when the water's really low, I'm basically the only boat out there because it's very difficult to get anybody else out there. But I
Right.
have a few places that that the fish just stack up because it's just warmer water in that a certain time of year, and I can do pretty well. It's pretty fun.
Well, so it's like you said, that's why we're not going to go out till later Wednesday morning to do the show.
Yeah, Wednesday we're going to wait for the tide a little bit to come in because I mean, even today, there's not much happening at the low tide, and you're stuck out there. You can hit a few trout here and there, but it's maybe one trout every 30, 40 cast, and that's a long day.
Yeah.
So wait for the water to come in just a little bit, and it'll be a little bit better.
Yeah, 'cause the high
You don't
tide
have to worry
here,
about hitting anything.
Gandy was like at 120 today, I think was high tide.
Hmm.
Down there was about an hour earlier because you're so close to the bridge. You're down at the
Yeah.
bottom but still, the big thing was that wind kept it out because when
Hmm.
when it was starting to come in, we looked at a couple of the channel markers back in there, and they were about just a little bit above halfway up. You could see all the other barnacles where it was way short of high tide, and it
Yeah.
already turned. So yeah,
Yeah, it didn't. I think it was supposed to be close to a 3 today, and I don't think it maybe got 2.4. It didn't get up high enough, and then just as soon as that tide switched, that water just started rushing out pretty quick. So it wasn't the greatest because of those winds. Hey, Jessica, how you doing?
how was the tides
Hey,
in your
Jim.
area, Jessica? I just wonder how she had her tides and she
Yeah.
was out today or whatever.
She's a little south of me.
And Donald, did he was out this weekend? I hope you had some good catches, or did you have your grandkids? Because I think it's time for Donald to get his grandkids, so that keeps him busy.
Oh yeah,
You know,
holiday seasons.
so we'll see what happens. You know.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I want to kind of talk about, and maybe this is in general, Donald, you're in St. Pete a lot. Jessica, where you're at, I'm in Hillsborough. I'm in Pasco, but I fish Hillsborough all the time. Mike, where you're at, it was a little disheartening today when we went to, we went to Cockroach Bay boat ramp and park over there. And the ramp is a little concrete ramp. And I think you can launch a 23-foot boat if you're real careful because it's a one boat ramp, but there's no little dock or nothing on the side. I mean, nothing.
Mhm.
You put the boat in the water, you're going to have to pull it up on the ramp to get in it, or you
Yeah.
have to have somebody else with you that stays in the boat. You launch them, and then there's a sandy beach on two sides of it. There's a little bit of a sandy beach
Mhm.
that you can come up, and that's what we did, come up with the boat up on the beach so you can get in and out of the boat. But it's amazing to me that you got to pay your $5 to park there. And there's no parking. You just park on the side of the street, basically. Yeah, they have no
Yeah.
really parking spaces. And they
Right.
tell me, now I haven't been there in a long time. This is the first time I've gone. It's during the week. We got there early. By the time we got back, there was maybe 10 trucks with some cars. But they tell me in the summer on the weekend, you might have to walk a quarter of a mile after you park because you got to park on the side of the road since there's no parking.
Yeah.
So, if you get there at 9:30, you're the only parking space might be half a mile from the boat ramp. And that's all you can do. There's nowhere else to park. And to me
Yeah.
is, why is it that, they take the money? I mean, there's money coming in. You can't tell me they can't put a little bit of money into just putting like a little bit of a dock and there's an old pipe there that's kind of supposed to tell you where one point of the ramp is that's been bent, maybe got hit or the hurricane, and nothing. I mean, nothing has been done, but yet you turn around and you hear about, oh, they just spent all this money adding another quarter mile to the boardwalk downtown Tampa. Well, they got a boardwalk so long now that people ain't going to walk it.
Yeah.
They can't take a little bit of that money as much as this area, our area is to fishing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just about everywhere. In Crystal River, we have 3 ramps. That's 3 ramps. That's it. And you have all of Crystal River. You've got Homosassa, Weeki Wachee area. You got Ocala area. You got even some of Gainesville area. You got all these people that come down here to use, because Crystal River is one of the closest places that you can actually get out and do some fishing and stuff like that, other than going down toward Newport Richey area or Cedar Key, which, again, even Cedar Key, you got 1 ramp. It's amazing that as much money and revenue that fishing and boating creates for the local economies and everything else like that, they have no plans. I mean, there's nothing even in the future to try to increase or improve, but they're taking money left and right daily. And I get it, especially here at Crystal, where we've had couple of years of storms where, but I only think the only one that was really damaged was at the complete end of Fort Island Trail. That ramp, that dock, and everything was damaged there. We still have a fishing pier that they have not repaired. Even the beach is not repaired, but yet all the money for the parking and everything else that's supposed to be the revenue to keep that up and renovate and everything else is just not being used. And I just don't understand it. I don't think it's on anybody's radar that's, in the county commissioners or anything else that, it's a big revenue for them and they just don't care. It's just not on their radar to even think about. So
Christopher said about launching E.J. Simmons. I grant you, yeah, E.J. Simmons has a nice ramp, but on a day like today, or if you're going to fish Cockroach Bay, I really didn't want to come across that open water with 2.5 to 3 foot seas and my beaver tail, my 18-foot skiff, and get the living daylights beat out of me back and forth. So the easiest thing is you launch inside of Cockroach Bay, and it can't cost them. And actually, E.J. Simmons, when I was there, 2 of the ramps were still closed not too long ago. And this was not that long ago that we were out of E.J. Simmons. And I don't know if they opened them up and fixed them, but only 2 ramps were open and 2 were closed. Why did they take so long? This is over a year ago. Come on, that's what I don't understand. And now, what's this? Jim Pace said you hear about the CPT that wrecked.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
What was that?
Yeah, we've had a fatality in one of the. Is that the one you're talking about, Jim? On the Redfish Series tour.
What happened?
I just read about it earlier that they had he unfortunately hit a rock or oyster bar somehow and lost his life.
Well, from the Redfish tour?
Week, so I believe so.
Is that the Power Pole Redfish tour?
Yeah, it's I could look it up here real quick, but yeah, his name was Kyle, I believe. It's not good.
Well, these guys are running, as fast as they can through areas sometimes that they're not familiar with.
Yeah, I just don't know. Flipping. That's what I love about Facebook. You can see something and you go to look at it again.
And then you can't find it.
You can't find it. It's aggravating.
Well, if anybody's got it, text us the information a little bit more.
Yeah. And, I feel for him, his family. Anything can happen out there on the water, and it's scary. But
Nick hit a rock jetty.
Hit a rock jetty. That's what it was. And he said, I kind of briefly saw it before we went on air and hadn't really looked into it yet.
It was on YouTube?
Nick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rock jetty.
What was Nick's last name? If I know.
Like I said, if I could find it, I could tell you, but I don't know. I know I have seen his name out there before. I have never met him or anything else like that, but I've seen his name out there. I got a couple buddies who fish that Redfish Series, so I just know him by name only. But yeah, that's horrible. Redfish Series page. That's what she said will be on.
Let's see. Well, there's like that one guy up north, that bass fisherman. He was in Alabama, I guess, doing 70 miles an hour, and they think he was downloading information from his phone to his GPS on the boat and wasn't paying attention. He ran over.
I watched that whole video. Yeah, that's that was not good. Yeah, I saw that whole video, and that really wasn't. That was no good at all.
Yeah, Jim Pace sent us the thing, but I don't want to open it up on the air, but it's something. You hate to see somebody lose a life. And,
it is. It hits home, especially when we're out there on the water all the time.
Well, I had a real good captain, and about 3 years ago. In fact, he had just taught in my fishing school. It was about 3 years ago now, maybe 4, but somewhere in there. He did my fishing school that weekend, at Lee Fisher, Tampa Fishing Outfitters. And he was out of Tarpon Springs, and Todd, and he booked like 2 trips from the school. And that Monday in the morning, he went to catch bait, and he was coming back in, and it was still kind of like twilight, and he hit a marker. And his boat is one of those that was like square front end,
Right.
and with the console way in the back. And he hit that thing so hard, he went flying through the air, and somebody just saw this boat going around in a circle.
Oh man.
And then he was dead. He
Yeah.
killed himself. 27 years old, Jim Pace says.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a young kid.
Knowlton. No, I didn't know him. Nick Knowlton.
Yeah.
Looks like it. I think it's a K. Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, yeah, well, we feel really bad because, but this just tells you, man, when you're on the water, you got to be careful.
You do. You do. It doesn't take but a second for something to happen. And that's why I say, especially now with this cooler weather, everybody wear your lanyard, especially. I mean, I do it all the time when I'm by myself, especially.
And I wear my inflatable, my automatic inflatable. If I'm
um,
by myself running somewhere, I'll have my automatic inflatable, and you better believe it, I got that lanyard on. Just, you can hit a little wave and get knocked over, get hit over the head, get over. That's it, brother. You're done.
Yeah.
But, you lose conscious or whatever. You've had it.
Yeah. And especially something like my boat, Flats boat, skiff, there's no rails. You go sideways, you're off the boat. There's nothing to stop you.
Let me tell you how rough it was today. Since you said that. When we said, let's go outside of Cockroach Bay to the flats, Brady says, there's a spot there we might be able to catch a little bit of whitebait. But our idea was to fish with artificials all day, but it wouldn't hurt to have a little bit of whitebait, right?
Yeah.
Just in case. Man, we came out of that little pass and made a left turn. And we had about a 3.5 foot wave hit the side of that beaver tail. And I bet you it put 50 gallons of water inside that beaver tail, because we were turning, and when it came, it hit us on the side of the gunnel.
Yeah.
And it just came over the gunnel and just, it was scary.
Yeah. There's always, I tend to have clients shift at times. If we've got a little bit of a breeze blowing, I'm going, okay, look, we're going back this direction. So we're going to have you sit. I'm going to have one of you sit next to me on this side, and one going to sit in the front. And then if you don't mind, we're just going to have you sit in the front on the ground if I have 3. Just because if you sit over here at splash zone, you're just going to get soaked, because it comes over the side of those boats. And it's just.
Oh, the beaver tail's low gunnel, but I mean, when it's just the wind was coming and that wave hit us, and it was an over 3 foot wave. When it hit the side of that gunnel right in the back, I mean, I looked, and I'm sitting on that side, and whoa, all this water came into the boat. I mean, it drained right out. That beaver tail drains the water out real quick.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, we took.
It's cold when it's at this time of year, though.
And it was. Yeah, it sure was.
Well, you want to get a fishing report on?
Yeah. Jim, you're right. That was this was an ankle, but was it already 5 years ago? God, 6 years ago. Was it that long? It could be. Time goes by. And it was Todd. Yeah, and he was such a nice guy. So, well, I'll tell you what, since we got Jim on, let's get Jim's fishing report on.
Sounds good.
Hey guys, this is Jim with your Pasco County Fishing Report. This week, up until this weekend, we're definitely a transition point. Bait went from easy to find to only one spot where I could find them. Early in the week, this week, redfish was the main bite. A lot of good reds still out there. Cut bait, white bait, anything up in the mangroves, high tide, they were there. But as the weekend came, that definitely changed. White bait, pilchards became almost non-existent as of yesterday. We only found them in one spot. There were very little of them. They weren't in our normal locations. They're definitely moving out. So whitebait's becoming thin and hard to find. So you're gonna have to switch over to artificials, pinfish, or go into your local bait shop and getting shrimp. We had good luck yesterday on trout. Trout was the main great bite. We were fishing. We found them in about 2 to 3 foot potholes, and they were right around the grass flats coming off the mangrove lines. They were sitting in these potholes kind of stacked. I mean, we were getting probably 3, 4, 15 to 18 inches out of each pothole. It was very good action. We were basically just throwing paddle tails, 3-inch paddle tails up in there and pulling them out almost every time. It was great action. The snook definitely have done their transitioning from what I can see. We struggled catching snook, but the most part I did find them up in a couple different creeks and stuff. One particular creek had, I mean, we came around the corner and there was probably 30, 40 plus snook. Tiny, small snook, 12 to 18 inch at the max. But it was really good to see them in there thriving, and, you know, a bunch of small ones getting ready to be large for us to catch later on in life. I posted a picture of one. We only caught one out of there just because we didn't want to disturb them. But other than that, sharks was a fun bite. We found, started going out there when the bite was getting slow. We went out and started catching a few sharks. Those are always super fun. Bull sharks, bonnet heads, things like that. Just float a pinfish on a bobber, or float white bait behind the boat, whatever you got. It works really good. Doesn't take long. They find it really quick. And sharks are always fun to catch. So if you're having a slow day, there's nothing wrong with going out there and catching a few sharks if you're in an area that you can get them. Coming up this week, I do see that it's going to be windy up until about Wednesday, and then it's going to go into a negative tide. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, looks like Saturday as well. So be careful on those negative tides. You can get caught in areas that normally hold, you think's got water, and it's not going to be there no more. So lower ends are expensive. So be careful going in and out of areas that you're used to being comfortable going in and out of fast. Try and work them slower. Don't get caught. Don't get caught up. And then after that, we'll see. I'll try and get out again this week and get you guys a new update next week. Until then, talk to you later.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, the thing is, we're starting to get into negative tide season.
Yeah, it's definitely here. And then when you got the north wind, it just adds to it. There's just no doubt.
And what you got to be careful.
Yeah,
is
that was something I was surprised to see out there today. Was I saw a number of sharks. I mean, water temperature is 65, 66 degrees, and still saw plenty of sharks around. So
yeah, you think they'd be kind of getting out of there by now.
Yeah. And I mean, 66 degrees around here is when usually the snooks shut down in our area. They'll start heading toward the rivers, toward the springs, getting way in the back. I was quite surprised how cool that water was already. But it'll warm up probably next couple of days, but I think that's about it. You're not going to see 70 degrees, probably not till March, April.
Well, hey, I'm ready for a change.
Yeah. It's been a hot summer. It's long hot summer. So it's kind of nice. Like I said, I love this time of year.
I just want the winds to die down a little bit, make it a little easier to fish.
Yeah. It's. I think we're going to have a rush for another couple weeks, and then it'll probably back off a little bit. Probably not till December. Then it's just going to rain forever. It always does.
Oh, but I don't know.
So,
but again, now, Jim, in your area, how bad this cold weather? It's going to turn on certain species. And I know, like, snook is going to kind of like quit almost, right? But then the trout will get turned on pretty strong with the cold weather. Well, what about flounder? Now, we were talking about flounder today, and I think within 10 minutes, if we say, I wonder if we can ever catch a flounder. Boom, and we caught a flounder today.
Oh, nice.
What is your area for flounder? What is it like?
It's kind of hit or miss. We don't have a ton of locations for it. You'll find more flounder out on the reef and rocks out there, kind of north, Yankeetown, places like that, where it's a little bit better bottom for them. I'll catch a few every once in a while down south near the mangroves, but nothing steady in any way, shape, or form. They tend to be a little farther north. And again, you'll catch more of them offshore than you will inshore. It's just kind of an oddball thing. And you'll get one every once in a while. I caught one, last week. Caught one last week. And, of course, it was shut down. It was perfect size. I had to let her go. I was like, man, I haven't had flounder yet this year. So you can find them. I mean, there are days that we'll catch 2 or 3 off of one location, but it's very difficult to target them consistently here. We just don't have the numbers.
Yeah, to me, most of my flounder fishing it's bycatch. You're fishing around a dock or something, and all of a sudden, boom. Now, we do get some big ones this time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some real nice ones, but it's not like, hey, let's go flounder fishing. No, hey, we're going to go fishing and maybe we'll get a flounder.
Yeah. Yeah. There's only a few places that I remember catching them years ago near the Bay Pines area. I had a couple locations over there that it was regular. We caught them quite regular. It was just one of those places where you got this little brackish type water coming through, and they would just get stacked up. And that would be the only place that we really kind of concentrated and really found them. We'd go, well, let's go see if we can't catch a flounder or 2. I mean, it wasn't, consistent, but usually when we went there, we caught 1 or 2 to take home. We'd catch our redfish, trout, whatever else as well. But there's not too many places. I even tried down there, like I said, Fort DeSoto area when I go every year. And I've tried hitting a lot of those sandbars and all that, just slow jigging some shrimp or a mud minnow down there, and just don't seem to find them as much as you used to.
And that's another thing we were looking for today. We said, well, there's no whitebait. Maybe we'll see some mud minnows, around the boat ramp area, because there's a little beach and all that. Nothing. I mean, actually, a lot of the places we went to, the only place we could find the fish was in the potholes where the water was like 3 feet deep.
Yeah.
Everywhere else we looked, I mean, the water was, I got to admit, it was pretty clean back in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I never saw any big, dark fish
Shadows.
Getting away from the boat or 2 or 3 of them like you would see. Nothing. I mean, and that's a lot of white sandy bottom, and we were fishing over the sandy and the grass, but as we were working the edge where it went from like 2 feet to 4 feet, you could see up towards the mangroves. I'll be honest with you, I didn't see anything moving that was of any size. You know what I mean? In fact, I didn't even see any pinfish.
No.
Nope. How about you? You got pinfish still?
Oh yeah, we do. In fact, while I was out there doing a little trout fishing, I was going to go to our trap to pick up some pins, but as I'm doing some trout with a jig, I just kept snagging a bunch of pinfish. So I just kept throwing them in the bait in the live well. I had about a dozen or more. All right, well, that's good enough. I don't have to go to the bait trap, and I still I just use them. But Jim said he targets them in muddy bottom in the Coatee River and some deeper holes around Anclote, but personally only catch them as a bycatch. Snook go deep up in the river and trout become alive for nice size overslots.
I know that, like, we got one guy here that does spear fishing at night, and they do that for flounder and sheephead with bow and arrow.
Yeah.
But I did one of those shows with him years ago in Hota, and it was so boring to me. I mean, because we were all through Tampa Bay through this area, just kind of drifting. He's got like, must have had 20 LED lights.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like a 20-foot Mako that looks like a Carolina skiff, square
Yeah.
front. All these lights in the front. You stand up there with a bow and arrow and you're looking. And the first thing is, just because you see the fish there, he ain't there. It's
Yeah.
the fish could be half a foot to the right or the left. So you
Yeah.
stand there, you let go of that. The only one is the flounder because he's straight down and you're going to shoot straight down. But the
Right.
sheephead, you shoot at him, and you're half a foot away sometimes because he
Oh,
tells
yeah.
you, no, you got to shoot this way. But I didn't. We did it, but I didn't enjoy it. It's not something that I would want to do.
Yeah.
You know?
On a regular basis.
And I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got a couple outfits that do it here as well. And we've got one, he's got a 24-foot aluminum type boat. And I mean, he's got so many lights on there. It looks like a spacecraft. It's insane, but they'll do stingray, sheep's head, mullet. I mean,
yeah, they do a lot
he
of
does very, very
stingrays.
well.
Now, you know what? He's got a little Honda generator
Yeah.
on the boat because to
Mhm.
run the lights.
Yep. Yeah, he's got a generator on there that's real quiet. I mean, just you can barely hear it. And yeah, run all the lights and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
no, I haven't done it. I've done bow fishing during the day for mullet. That can be fun. But you get a school of mullet and you got 50 or 60 right there. You throw an arrow into it, you're bound to hit one of them. So it's not too bad.
Well, if I'm going to do that for mullet, I'm going to use a snatch hook.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah. You do the same thing.
Yeah, But
Yeah.
no, the night that we went, that was one of the things. Hey, look at that big stingray. I don't want to shoot a stingray.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Pensacola, up in Pensacola, that's a big thing. They do a lot of night gigging. They call it gigging up there. Catch a lot of flounder and everything else. And there are times that I went to the boat ramps early morning to get ready, and those guys are coming in, and they had, stacks waist high of stingray. I'm going, what are you going to do with all that? I don't know.
well, he
People
said
love
he
to
had
do
a
it.
neighbor that ate them.
Yeah.
That made
Some people do.
scallops. Oh, you
Yeah.
made scallops out of them, out of the wings,
Right.
But,
Well, again, that's a little bit more redneck country up there. So
yeah, hey, fresh roadkill.
yeah.
I'll tell you. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's get. You want to get Jessica's on?
Sure. Sounds good.
All right.
Hey guys, Captain Jessica with the Old Hookem Charters out of Chaz. This week the fishing has been really good. I've been fishing mostly the incoming, which has been doing really well for me. We've been using shrimp and mud minnows, but the mud minnows have been doing a little bit better. We caught a whole bunch of over slots for redfish this week. We caught a keeper snook. The trout are moving in. I wanted to do some sheephead and black drum. Found a couple of black drum. They were a little short to keep, but the sheephead was 21 inches, which was pretty nice. We also caught 2 flounder this week, which we don't catch a lot of those. And they were 18 and 19 inches, really nice size, but too bad they're out of season. The weather's cooling down. The fishing is getting better and better. They will be getting in more closer to shore soon. So I hope everybody can get out and have a great time. Tight lines.
All right. Thank
Hey,
you, Jessica.
Yeah, it looks like she got some flounder there.
Yeah. Like I said,
Like I
to
said,
me, it's a bycatch.
Yeah, during the wintertime, or fall and winter is probably the better times that you're going to get them, if you are going to get them around this area, because they will come up to the rivers and come into that backwater at times. But like I said, it's more of a bycatch than it used to be. You're going to cast a lot trying to find a flounder all day. So
Now, in some areas, though, was it the East Coast that they have areas? There's a lot of flounder.
yeah, there is East Coast up there, and actually Alabama, just on the other side of the Alabama-Florida border. You got some of those back bays back there, and they call it the Jubilee. Fall Jubilee or some Jubilee, but you can go along those shorelines and they'll just be stacked. And I think what happens is that the oxygen levels kind of drops in those areas, and these fish kind of come up into the shallows, and you can pretty much go out there and pick up what you want. And there are just flounder, there's mullet, there's everything you want, and it's just
Wow.
it's starving for oxygen. You can just walk along the shoreline and pick up as much as you want. But there's a ton in those backwater bays and places like that around the, Mobile Bay and those areas. I fish those a lot down there.
Now we're going to go to film, and if you're interested, the 28th, 29th, and 30th of December, after
Sure.
Christmas, we're going to go to Stanahatchee.
Oh yeah,
You ever
Yeah.
been up there?
I have not fished there yet. I've been there. I've been there several times, but I have yet fished in that area. So
We fished
that'd be
one
great.
time
Yeah.
with Ryan Rickard. He's real big in the redfish tournament. In fact, I think he won it
Mhm.
last year. And
Yeah.
we went out with him out of Stanahatchee for redfish. And so I met the people up there, and I'm going to have some clients going up, and we're thinking of going up there to film.
Cool. Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah, definitely.
It's
Now,
not
who else we got?
all right. You want to get Michael Dawson?
Yeah, let's get Mike on there.
Oh,
Hi guys, Captain Michael Dawson here of Patriotic Geysers, here with this week's Anclo fishing report and forecast. So as you guys can tell, the first major cold front of the year has just passed through. Water temperature dropping down in the upper 60s already. Good thing is forecast is showing the water temperature to get up there. Going to be a good couple weeks again. So we're going to get back into our normal fall time pattern. Not going to be too much of a major change just for these couple days. Bait has really scattered after this front. It should gather back up as the water temperature evens out, but the bait is a little tough right now. Great time of year for throwing an artificial, but you should see bait showing back up at the Tiki Hut again, out there on the beach again still. It should show back up in its usual spaces here in a couple days. Lots of mackerel showing up anywhere on the north end of the island, marker number 2 out there on the north end of the sandbar. The flats out of Howard Park, anywhere offshore on that hard bottom, lots of Spanish mackerel around right now. Fun fighting, good for throwing like little gotcha plugs, little silver spoons, or any live bait out there is a great time. Redfish have been on the flats, kind of moving out into the flats away from the mangroves. So kind of trolling motor down these flats a little slowly, and you'll see these redfish sitting in the potholes. Cut bait's been working really well. Early morning top water has been catching quite a few of these fish, and it should be a lot of fun. Main target for us lately are these juvenile tarpon. Up in the Anclote River and the Cody River around some of these docks, we're seeing a lot of these juvenile tarpon, and they'll stick around for a few more weeks and they should be pretty good. Big snook are moving their way back up in the rivers. Start looking for them past the Anclote Alt 19 bridge, as well as past the old train bridge up there. These snook are starting to seek out some warmer water where they're going to stay for the winter time. Big trout are starting to move back on the flats as well. Start seeing these around the mouth of the river, on the spoil islands down south. A Mirror Little John who's been working really well, little stick baits on an 1/8 ounce jig head. You can catch quite a few of these fish. Captain Michael Dawson, Patriotic Guide Service.
thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, he
Real
had a
good.
variety of fish there.
Oh, he catches a
Including
lot
that
of
tarpon,
tarpon
nice little
in those
tarpon.
little canals. We did a show
Oh.
with him, and they're so much fun. They're like little 30 to 40 pounders, and they're in these
Mhm.
canals. And you get in there, and man, I tell you what, we landed about 3 of them and jumped about 2 more, and it was
Yeah.
just a light tackle, and you
Yeah.
can see them. They're rolling inside the canal. So, but when you see
Mhm.
that, you just drop the power pole and just start throwing at them, and you get lucky, and maybe they'll hit, maybe they won't. But that day we were able to get 3 of them. And,
Yeah, nice. Yeah, those are fun. The last time I had some juveniles like that, I was actually fishing Cayman Islands, and you just were on the bank in those backwaters there, and it was just one right after the other. They're just so much fun.
yeah,
Just
well, you
fun little fish to catch.
yeah, the Cayman Islands. Did you get to go diving on the Tarpon Alley?
No, I didn't go diving. I
Oh.
went there
Oh.
strictly for fishing. I wanted tarpon, I wanted bonefish, I wanted just and permit, and that's what we did. We just strictly went fishing. I think I was there for about 4 or 5 days, but we only got to fish like 3. It just started blowing, and we couldn't get out to do anything. So, but yeah, it was just I went there for specifically for those type of fish.
Now,
But,
now, bonefish, if you really wanted to catch bonefish and enjoy yourself, you had to go to Little Cayman.
Mhm. Yep.
And Little Cayman, you just walk in the beach and you can see the bonefish going up and down
Yeah.
the beach.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, it was a time when my brother happened to live there, and so I went down there to go visit with them. And
All right.
it was a fun little trip,
It's
get
it's
down
not
there,
a it's Cayman's is a nice place to visit and spend a little bit of time, but you cannot live there. I can
no,
tell you.
no.
I
And
used to
they
go
actually they went through Hurricane Ivan in Cayman that time.
well, it's not the hurricanes and all that. Like I used to go every 5 weeks for business for 20 something years. Okay.
Yeah,
And we had managers and we had to rotate the managers every 2 years, even though they were doing a terrific job, because they can become alcoholics.
oh yeah.
I mean, there's
There's
not
not
much to
do out
do.
there.
No, I mean, you don't get up and say, "Hey, let's go to Walmart or let's go to the movie theater."
Yeah, no.
No. Yeah, let's go to the bar.
That's pretty much
Yeah.
that's the lifestyle there.
That's
It's
right.
you go to work, you come home, you eat, you go to the bar. I mean, that's pretty much all
That's
that was
it.
there.
There's not much going on, and we
No.
saw that. I mean, and hey, it's one of those things. But
Yeah.
the fishing was good, and the people are very nice. I thought the Canadian people were always.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And here's a little trivia thing that people don't realize it. When you were there, I don't care what, I don't know now, I haven't, since I retired, but up to
Yeah.
the time I retired, there was a KFC, there was a Burger King,
Mhm.
but there was no McDonald's.
Right.
Never did you see a McDonald's. And the
No.
reason for that is the Canadian government. You
Mhm.
a foreigner cannot own business in the Canadian.
Correct.
And it's got to be owned by a Canadian, at least
Correct.
51%. Now,
Mhm.
they're very protective about their people. This is one thing I give them credit. There's an old man on Grand Cayman that had McDonald's hamburgers, his little restaurant for years, a little hole in the wall place. So when McDonald's came in, they could not sell a franchise because there was an old man that had a McDonald's on the island. That's what it was
Right.
called. Unless the old man would agree to it's okay for them to sell a franchise.
Yeah.
They offered this guy, I don't know how much money. And the old
Oh,
man
I'm
says,
sure.
I don't want your money.
No.
I want my little restaurant called McDonald's. And that's
Mhm.
why you had a Burger King on Grand Cayman, you had a KFC, but you never saw a McDonald's because the government wouldn't allow it.
Correct.
And now you know the rest of the story.
Yeah. Yeah. There was my brother worked, he was a master mechanic there, and he worked at the main marina, and I forget the name of it. But it was, one of those families who owned the marina. They owned
Yeah, well,
some stores,
it's either
all that kind of
it
stuff.
was either Tibbetts, Kirkconnell's, and there's 2 other families. Tibbetts is the one I worked for. Kirkconnell's was the other one, and then 2 others, and that's it. There was 4 names that
Yeah.
families, and they about owned almost all the major stuff.
Pretty
Or
much.
they had
Yeah.
their hands
He
in it.
owned, I think he owned the only car lot there. So yeah, it's definitely monopolized by a few people there.
But the fishing was great. I mean,
It is.
especially in Little Cayman, you went out from the beach, you went out a football field, and it went from 2 or 3 feet to 20 feet to 30 feet to about 45 feet. And then when you got about past a football field or 2 football fields from the beach, it dropped down to
Just
5,000 feet.
Straight drop. Yep.
Yeah, straight down. I mean,
Yep.
not gradual, drop.
No, it's
Yeah,
dropped. Yeah. It
and
dropped quite a
every
bit.
January on Cayman Brac, which is the second island, there's 3 Canadian islands: Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman, every year the grouper would concentrate on the north end of the cliff area of Cayman Brac to spawn. And all commercial fishing everywhere was stopped except locals on the island were allowed
Correct.
to fish it. And
Yep.
I never was there and I never saw this, but from what the locals told me was that you could almost walk on the grouper. They were that thick for
Yeah.
like 2.5 weeks. That part of the island in January was just wall to wall grouper mating. Unbelievable. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's beautiful. Well, let's get
Yep.
your fishing report in.
All right, sounds good. Hey, good evening, Captain Mike Haynes, Fishbones Charters out of Crystal River, Florida. Well, it's kind of cold. Water temperature has definitely dropped. It's about 68 degrees up here in the shallows. So definite change since last week. But we're hoping these trout are going to be kicked off quite a bit. They kind of moved in a little bit shallower last week. Found some in about 3 to 4 foot of water. We're going to go out today, see if we can't find them in about 2 to 3 foot in through the mangroves and all that. Just using jigs. One of the other things I use is just a fluke. Just kind of twitching it around, trying to find some trout, trying to locate them. Once I do, then I'll change over to a jig and fish them a little more methodically. But hopefully they should be in there. As well, since this cool weather has come, and you got these north winds, we got a little bit of north wind today. The key in wintertime fishing is finding the south side of anything. South side is where the sun's going to warm everything up. Fish are going to be a little more active. So definitely if you want to go for redfish, snook, anything else, look for the sunny sides, south sides, because that's where the sun is going to be beating in. It's going to be protected from the north wind. But we'll see what we do today, and hopefully it's a good day. The grouper have definitely moved in closer. Getting a lot of reports of some grouper in the shallow rocks and reef areas. Again, they're just fun to play with. Also, some flounder have been caught quite a bit, but again, we got to wait for that to open back up to really do that. By that time, it's going to be really cold, and they're going to be moved off to the rocks in the reefs a little deeper out probably about 20, 30 feet or so is usually where they like to hang. That way they're not affected too much by the cold fronts that come through. But we got bluebird skies today, not a cloud in the sky. Hoping that'll be okay, and we're going to catch some fish. But if I do, I'll post the pictures on here. I'm kind of by myself today, so we'll see how the posting pictures goes. But we're going to give it a shot and see what we can do. Other than that, Captain Mike Haynes, Fishbones Charters out of Crystal River, Florida. We'll see you next week.
Now, it must have been a little cold, huh?
A little cold. Yeah, I had a couple jackets on, but 60 degrees to me is freezing weather, so I tend to bundle up a little bit more. I ended up taking that jacket off at the by the end of the day, but yeah, it turned out to be a better day than I thought it was going to be.
What's the forecast for this Wednesday?
That trout that I had was 20 inches.
Wow, that's
Those are
nice.
decent trout. Yeah, let that one go for another day.
There you go. And what do you think? What's the temperature going to be this Wednesday?
I think it's supposed to warm up. It's supposed to get close to the 80s. So
Wow.
and again, the wind is supposed to kind of die down about Wednesday, and then it's going to pick up for the weekend. But I think Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll be out there again tomorrow. It's probably going to be the best days this week to get out on the water. This weekend, I think it's just going to be a no-go just because of the front coming through.
Yeah. See, the way it's running for you is you're going to have better Tuesday and Wednesday, but we're not. But then we're going to have, it looks like maybe Friday and Saturday, because it's following your pattern as it comes down. But then I think starting Saturday night comes Sunday, it's high winds again, and Monday. I think Monday they were calling for some pretty high winds. Let me see what Windfinder says here. Let's see. Okay, Monday. Yeah, they're calling for 7 in the morning, 15 to 21, 14 to
Yeah.
16 at about 8 o'clock. So that's
Yeah. See, Wednesday here we've got early morning. It's kind of blowing offshore east wind, and then it's going to pretty much die down the rest of the afternoon. And then by Thursday, well, no, actually Thursday doesn't look too bad.
no,
I'm
no.
looking up in
Thursday
Turkey.
looks good. Thursday over here it says 7 to 8 on Thursday, so it looks
Yeah.
really good Thursday. But then Friday it says 8 to 14, and then 6 to 8 around 10 o'clock. So it looks like as
Yeah.
Friday comes on and it heats up, it's going to drop down between 10 and looks like 2 o'clock. It's going to be really nice, and then it's going to kick back up. And then Saturday, it says 4 to 5, 5 to 6, all the way to about
Mhm.
1 p.m. It's going to be like that all day. Then Sunday shows 6 to 8, but then by 1 o'clock, 10 to 12. But Monday, yeah, Monday is looking again 15 to 16, 17 to 23. It's crazy.
Yeah. Monday does not look good in any way, shape, or form.
No, and I think we're supposed to
So,
film,
but
so we're
yeah,
probably going to
Thursday.
cancel that.
Mhm. Thursday looks good for us. Friday looks pretty good, and actually Friday, if you get out there early enough, looks like the south winds are going to kick up on Friday. Friday, I would say, is probably a good day to get out there throwing artificials. Only because with that south wind blowing, for some reason, being on the south side of these mangroves with that south wind blowing in, it's a little warmer. It's going to warm that area up a little bit. And to me, I do very, very well on a south wind, south side, just before these fronts that come through. So, yeah, maybe this week is not as bad. You definitely will have to deal with some wind, but just I think what Jim said, just pay attention to those tides and don't get yourself stuck out there. You don't want to be stuck out there in a lot of wind.
Well, I know a
It's
couple
gonna
of
blow
years
you
ago,
around.
we were going to film with one of our captains, and we got to the ramp, and we sat there for an hour and a half before he could even try to get the boat in the water. And then when we
Mhm.
did, half an hour later, the wind came from, it tripled, and we couldn't do anything. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right. It's like you said, Wednesday, we were going to go out. You said, no, let's go out later because let that tide start coming in. So you're just not
Mhm.
sitting doing nothing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Friday, actually, that front, what happens is that front that's coming down, it's not really going to hit us um, until it's just kind of going to stall up north of us and not come rushing through till Sunday night, Monday. And that's why it's going to
Yeah.
be so breezy.
Yeah.
So
Monday
it's
looks
going to
really
stall up
bad.
there for a couple of days.
Yeah. So since we're a little south of you, we're going to be a little bit behind your predictions,
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, Saturday looks really good right now, and I hope it's that way because I've got a charter, and they wanted to do some grouper fishing in the bay, so that
Ah,
would be nice if it
yeah,
if
you
it stayed
definitely
that
need some
way.
better
Yeah,
winds
yeah.
for that.
Oh God, yeah. But anyway,
Mhm.
so well, let's and the Bucks. Let's see, they had a bye week last week, so they play this coming
Mhm.
week, correct? And they
This week they'll come. It's Sunday. They'll be playing Sunday.
yeah. So they're doing
A
good.
couple of teams had some bye weeks. I think most Florida teams had bye weeks this week. Um, but yeah, there's Monday night tonight, but I don't think I'm going to watch it. Two teams that I'm not really care about. So
Yeah.
I'll watch.
I'm going to take it easy because that wind beat the crap out of me today.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
If my wife doesn't understand that. I said, honey, you can do the same thing on a nice day, and a day like today, it kind of takes it out of you.
It does.
It really does.
It does. Yeah.
I-
Yeah. It definitely beats you up a little bit. And, I tried to stay out of it as much as I could. But there's when it changed from kind of north to west type wind, and there was just no getting away from it. So you were just in it. You had to deal with it.
Let's hope we do good on Wednesday. And everybody, God bless you. And we'll see you next
Yep.
week.
We'll see you next week. Thank y'all.
All right. Take care.